Greetings, Space Cadets. It's the OGGM. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's the 23rd day of May, 2022. It's 58 degrees and dark and cloudy here at Site B, which, wouldn't be so bad, except, of course, it's summer, and I'm drinking coffee. Support me, coffee. I will sell out. It's Monday, which means it's time to take a break from the nonsense of the internet to look at the nonsense of the internet. Specifically, has anything happened in the gaming world since last we spoke? Mordenkainen's, I keep getting the name wrong. Mordenkainen presents Monsters of the Multiverse, which has the cover with, we were making fun of, with Mordenkainen sitting on the space horse, holding the space basketball in space. That has become available, as you know. It updated the material from Volo's Guides to Monsters in the previous Mordenkainen's book, Mordenkainen Tombs of Foes. It came out both digitally and physically on last Monday. And already it's been marked down from its original price to about $20. So that's sort of really ridiculous. And strangely enough, it is the #1 bestseller in romantic fantasy, which is weird. It's number 10 on the sales charts over at Amazon. I'm not sure how Mordenkainen's Multiversal Monster Guide is romantic fantasy, but we should note that since its release, it has already gone down in price to about $20 plus tax, which could be a lot of reasons why. One of the reasons could be because a lot of people already have it if they bought the slipcase thing that came out earlier this year that had Tasha's in the other one. Xanthar's in it. The other reason could be that because we do know that even though they weren't supposed to, a lot of game stores did break open the slipcase and sell the Mordenkainens individually. So now, they're marking it down because people already have it. Or it could just be marking it down because either A, sales aren't doing very well, or B, just Wizards of the Coast wants to get it into people's hands so they're aware that, this exists and we're constantly rewriting our own game. Or it could be that sales are down, like Strixhaven. Or maybe just everybody realized, wait, I already have this stuff. Now, speaking of Dungeons & Dragons and Dungeons & Dragons Beyond, we have already spoken about how D&D Beyond has made 2 books free. Lost Mind of Phandelver, which was the very first D&D adventure that came with the very first 5th edition beginner's box set. Lost Mind of Phandelver is considered one of the best 5e adventures that Wizards of the Coast has produced, which is either saying a lot or not a lot. And Acquisitions Incorporated, of course, is the long-running campaign run by Chris Perkins that he gave up and handed over to Jeremy Crawford that had, Jim Dark Magic and the others guys on him. Both of these are now free on D&D Beyond. So just let's make there's no mistake or no misinformation being given out by other YouTubers. It's only free on D&D Beyond. So do not go to your friendly local game store and say, well, the guy on the internet said I could get Acquisitions Incorporated and Lost Mind of Phandelver for free. No, it's only free on D&D Beyond. The physical copy is not free. Speaking of Wizards of the Coast and stuff, the Wizkids has released a series of figures based upon the characters in Dragon of Stormwick Island. The characters bear a striking resemblance to the characters from the beloved 1980s Dungeons & Dragons cartoon. There has been a lot of speculation as to whether the characters in the book are, in fact, the Dungeons & Dragons cartoon characters from the kids from that cartoon, like Bobby the Barbarian and Uni the Unicorn and Presto the Mage. And there is definitely some likenesses to them. And because of that, there are a lot of people out there saying, oh no, it's canon. The Dungeons & Dragons cartoon kids are the kids on the box set, and they're still there, and now they're canon in D&D. except, of course, for four things that I feel I need to correct. Okay, 1, there is no more canon in Dungeons & Dragons. Remember, Jeremy Crawford got rid of it. Anything before 2014 is not canon. Anything after 2014 could or could not be canon. Crawford has said repeatedly, no more canon. There is no overarching D&D story anymore. We are creating a setting agnostic multiverse. Crawford then again said, look, just because it's in our books doesn't mean it's canon. You don't have to use it. If you don't want Tasha's in your game, you don't have to. There's no canon. Think for yourselves. 3, the creator, Crawford has said, the characters portrayed in Dragons of Stormwick Island are not the kids from the Dungeons & Dragons cartoons. They are an homage to the children from the Dungeons & Dragons cartoon. They are based upon them, but they are not them. They're sort of like how, I don't know, Jack in a Box is based upon a clown, but he's not a clown. They are an homage to a character. So they are, but they are not the characters. Moving on. The creator of the Dungeons & Dragons cartoon, of course, said, yep, they got off. There is an unofficial, official final episode that is floating around YouTube, if you can find it, which puts together unseen footage, animatics, storyboards, voiceovers to show the final confrontation and the ending to the cartoon. And finally, they are not dressed the same as the characters from the cartoon. The Diane, the acrobat, the character, is not dressed like Diane in the cartoon. She's dressed like a thief or a monk holding a staff. Eric the Cavalier is not dressed like Eric the Cavalier was dressed in the cartoon. He's being called a paladin. The coat of arms is completely different. The ranger is wearing a different kind of armor. The thief is now, although wearing purple, is a cleric. And Presto is, well, yeah, that still looks like Presto, except he's using a book. And Presto in the cartoon didn't get his spells from a book. He got his spells from his hat. So it's not canon. They're not the kids on the island. If you want, there are some figures coming out, but if they're anything like the Witchlight iconic figures, they're going to be unbelievably expensive. And speaking of unbelievably expensive, Wizkids has also previewed their new premium miniature for $90. You can get a figure of Demigorgon. Yay, $90 for a figure of something you're going to use. What? How often are people going to run into Demigorgon? And then people are going to see this and go, that's not the Demigorgon. I saw Stranger Things. It's some weird plant thing. Who's this guy with 2 heads and tentacles? So yeah, $90 for Demigorgon. Paizo has announced a new president. It's Jim Butler. He's got a long history in the hobby. Who knows? Yay, more Starfinder. I think we can, moving on. Speaking of Pathfinder, the hardcover Abomination Adventure Path is on its way still. They've been saying it's on its way for a while now. So this is an Adventure Path hardcover for both Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition and Pathfinder 2E, which has also led certain individuals to come up with bizarre conspiracy theories of how Wizards of the Coast is going to buy Paizo and how Paizo is switching over to 5e and isn't going to support Pathfinder anymore. Both of which are completely untrue. So again, no, Wizards of the Coast is not going to buy Paizo. Paizo only exists because Wizards of the Coast fucked them over. And Pathfinder has only existed as popular as it was because, again, Wizards of the Coast messed up. So I don't think there's any amount of money. But, I could be wrong. I suppose they could swallow their, pride for a few $1 billion. But, yeah, no. They started as a company that made material for D&D. They continued to make material for D&D. They, Wizkids. And now they're just jumping on that 5e bandwagon to milk some of that 5e money before 5e metamorphs into whatever's going to happen to it in 2024. But no, they're not selling out. Now for some non-Wizards of the Coast Dungeons & Dragons news. All you talk about is Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons & Dragons, OGGM. Well, if the other game companies would actually do something. But you gotta admit, they're clever. All they have to do is just not do anything, knowing full well that Wizards of the Coast will make fools of themselves and will be the center of the news for another week. And meanwhile, the other game companies can just move about and do their stuff without any attention being paid to them. And then they're like, hey, we won another award at the Ennies. How many awards did you win, Wizards of the Coast, this year? Oh, yeah. None. Aha, you're too busy being controversial and stupid. Modiphius, or Mophidius, has a new release for Star Trek Adventures. It's Discovery Season 3. So it's information on the stuff from the 3rd season of Star Trek Discovery. You know Star Trek Discovery. That's the one with Michael Berman, the character who's often referred to as Space Jesus in the Star Trek and is pretty much belovedly hated by most Star Trek fans. So, yeah, Modiphius is dipping into the Star Trek Discovery thing to make characters and adventures for that. Which is weird, because I thought they were going to finally start making their own stuff that had nothing to do with this show. They just announced earlier this year their very first adventure that was in no way, shape, or form connected with any of the shows, but took place in the Star Trek universe. Now they're going back to the well and just say, hey, here's everybody from Discovery. We also have the Tricarter Edition PDF collection. This is all the collection that was out physically in that weird PDF thing that they made. I mean, that weird Tricarter book set thing that they made. Sorry, not enough coffee. All right, let's start it again. So earlier this year, they released a collection of stuff for the Star Trek adventure, and it came in a box that looked like a Tricarter. Now everything that was available in that collection is available on PDF as well. The Cowboy Bebop sci-fi role-playing game is being kickstarted, and for anybody who's interested in playtesting it, the playtest copy is available over at DriveThruRPG for free. You can't find it directly for some reason. You have to go to the menu and pull down to where it says free, and then wait for it to go to the page with all the free stuff that's available. And the Cowboy Bebop will probably be the second line of icons, because the first line of icons is stuff for their D&D sale for the week. But their second icon, I'm looking at it right now, second icon, very first in the row, it's black and blue with Spike and the other characters on it. So, yeah. You could try searching for it in the drive-thru menu, but I tried searching for it in the drive-thru menu and it didn't come up for some reason. They may have fixed that since I just checked 10 minutes ago. But for whatever reason, the only way it seems to find it is, again, go to the menu, pull down to where it says free, click free. It'll go to the page that has all the free stuff, and it should be one of the very first things you see. So if you want to get the playtest copy of it, there you go. There's a new streaming miniseries coming out for Exandria. It's called Exandria Unlimited Calamity. This is a new series with Game Master Brendan Lee Mulligan running a bunch of different people through Matt Mercer's Critical Role universe of Exandria. It will feature Lou Wilson, Marisha Ray, Louis Caiazzo, Sam Regal, Travis William, and I know I'm going to get her name wrong, so I apologize, Abria Lengerger. Abria, Lyengar. Aabria, first name, Lyengar, second name. I apologize for mispronouncing your name, but, you know, I'm an idiot. Noticeably missing is Mercer. So maybe he's taking a break, or maybe he's working on something else in the background right now and letting somebody else mess around with his world so he can just sit down and think and get a breather, which he probably deserves. The 2022 Eisner Award nominees for Best Comic Book and Graphic Novels are in, and among the nominees are Rick and Morty's vs. Dungeons & Dragons Deluxe Edition. The graphic novel, written by Patrick Rufius, featured, of course, Rick and Morty running around in a Dungeons & Dragons universe, and went hand in hand with the Rick and Morty vs. Dungeons & Dragons box set for D&D that came out a couple years ago. So if you want to see the comic book and the stats for Rick and Morty and those guys, check it out. It's all available in a graphic novel now, and it's nominated for an award. You know, it's not nominated for any awards. Dungeons & Dragons. Convention season is wrapping up, and several conventions have run into controversy surrounding health and safety policies with the COVID-19 precautions or lack thereof. Gen Con has announced they will require proof of vaccination, and mask wearing is mandatory. They had recently said, no, it's up to you, but now they've changed it. UK Game Expo will not require any proof of vaccination or negative COVID tests, and they don't care if you mask or not. Origins said that they dropped the mask mandate, and then they reversed the decision. So as of May 17th, Origins is now masks required. PaizoCon is requiring proof of vaccination and mandatory masks. This is because people are still worried about COVID, and now we've got the monkey flu. If anybody remembers Outbreak, with Dustin Hoffman, yeah, monkeypox. Okay, that's it for the news. We will follow closely thereafter with the freebies for this week, but I think that's enough for me talking for now. If you appreciate this content, let me know. If there's anything you'd like to see me change, like how badly I pronounce people's names, let me know. Keep your powder dry, keep your controversies limited, and stay healthy. And of course, stay out of my cave, you damn kids. See you in a minute.